This first post was made by a now deleted user and is titled "Creepy Stranger Won't Leave Me Alone." So recently I just bought a house and everything seemed fine at first. All until one Tuesday, I was backing up from my garage when I saw a guy leaning against a Toyota Camry staring my car down. I pulled my car out and rolled down my window to ask him if he needed anything, and he just said, "No sir, have a good day." I then asked him politely if he could leave and he didn't respond. He just stared at me for a good 30 seconds. I started to get out of my car to confront him, but as soon as he saw me go for the door, he got in his car and drove off. I was so rattled, I called in sick to work and called the police. They said I was probably being scouted for a burglary, which made sense. I had my brother-in-law come down and stay with my wife to help comfort her, and I went and bought a Ring camera set. After we settled down, everything seemed to go back to normal until Sunday. I was watching the Chiefs and Browns game when the same man peeked through my front window and stared at me and started laughing. I quickly went to grab my gun, but when I turned around, he was gone. I called the police and they took the Ring footage to try and track him down. My wife and I decided to stay with family until it's solved. Everything seems to be normal, right? Then last night at 2 a.m., I got a call from an unknown number asking if I was home. I asked who it was and they hung up. I notified the police, but they said there was little they could do. I really love the neighborhood besides this, and I don't want to quit my job, but I am just pondering moving out of state and changing numbers. I have a baby on the way and can't take my family's safety for granted. Is there absolutely any advice you guys could give me to help guide me through this? Thanks, and God bless. User Punkass Book Jockey said, ask the people you bought the house from if there's anyone bitter about the sale. Sometimes relatives or friends expect a free house or a family discount, but it got sold. It could be unrelated, but it's possible he's doing this so you move. I would at least ask the previous owners or their agent and rule that out if nothing else, especially if it was an estate sale from a death and someone is emotionally tied to the property, but it had to be sold. Most burglars scope out a house but don't usually want confrontation. This seems psychological. He wants you to know he's there. Do you have a friend with a big dog you can borrow? Ask a neighbor if they have a camera or Nest Cam they can pull footage from to see him or his car from different angles. Can the phone number he called from be seen on your phone? Your phone company probably can't give you a name, but someone at the company might be able to tell you if it's a burner phone. The behavior seems really concerning. Unfortunately, if this person doing this randomly is mentally ill, you're likely not going to get logical motives from an illogical mind. Call the police every single time. Ask if patrol can be increased in your neighborhood. Have your wife call because sometimes they're unfortunately more sympathetic to scared women. I'd get some motion activated floodlights around your house. I'm sorry you're going through this. Not feeling safe in your house is horrible. Edit. There's such a personal element to this, especially with your phone number being called. Can you try thinking back to when you moved and who would have access to your cell phone and go from there? Do you work somewhere political right now? In elections, election software, or in some way linked to some crazy election theory? Underneath this comment, OP left the following reply, so I'll try and answer as well as possible. From what I understand, the previous owners were a young couple like us. I asked the neighbors about them and they said they were so friendly and often held neighborhood parties at the house. But you might be onto something. When I bought the house, there was a bidding war between me and some other person. I will ask my real estate agent in the morning. Unfortunately, no one else has cameras to get potential plates. I was really hoping they would so we could know the car and he could be tracked down. I completely agree he wants to scare me and for me to know he is there. I would love the idea of a big dog to borrow, but my wife is really pregnant and I wouldn't want her to fall over it or for it to trip her. And that last thing you said made a light go off in my head. Not gonna brag, but my wife is a very successful businesswoman in the area who also holds a seat in our local district. We live in a military conservative type town and she ran as a Democrat, so that might have something to do with this. When I was kind of helping her campaign, I was kind of just slinging around my number, so you never know. Thanks for these ideas. I'll let you know what happens. Thanks. Then several weeks later, OP returned with an update. So about 2 weeks ago, I posted in this subreddit about my creepy experiences. Basically, a man started harassing me and my pregnant wife at our house. Anyway, one Redditor asked about my wife's occupation and if maybe it could get us some hate. That turned out to be true. My wife is a councilwoman in a really conservative town, and she is the only Democrat politician of any kind in the region. I took all of your advice. I bought a total of 18 cameras, bought my wife a handgun, and reported my suspicions to the cops. After analyzing the Ring video camera footage of the man, they found him. Apparently, he is a member of some alt-right group called a Groyper. I've never heard of them, but I guess they are very popular in our state. Anyway, thanks to you all, my wife and I get to welcome home our baby girl on Thursday with no fear of that creep anymore. God bless you all.